Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. This is number 3 on the midterm. Mateo is biking from his house to the local library. He knows that the library is exactly 29 kilometers from his house if he was able to travel in a straight line. So 29 kilometers only if this was a straight line. However, streets do not work that way. So he will have to travel north, then turn to travel east. If Mateo travels 20 kilometers north and takes a turn to the east to get to the library, how many kilometers will Mateo have to travel east to get to the library? Create a diagram to help you solve the problem. Okay, so let's do that first. Let's create a diagram. Let's start off with Mateo's house. So let's say Mateo's house is somewhere over here. There's the door. Here's a little window. Okay, so here's Mateo's house. We know that the library is going to be 29 kilometers away from his house if he was able to travel in a straight line. So we'll leave that to the end. But we do know how he traveled. He traveled 20 kilometers north. Okay, so let's get a little compass rose going first. So let's see here. So I know that my directions work this way. This would be north. This would be south. This would be west. This would be east. Okay. So he's going to be traveling north, which means he's going upwards, right? So he's going to be going upwards 20 kilometers. So let me get a little diagram going. So he's traveling this way, 20 kilometers. Okay. Then he's going to turn and travel east. So east, at this point right here, he's going to turn and travel east. So he's going to be going this way, right? Okay. So he's going to go this way, like that, right? We just don't know exactly how many kilometers he's going to travel east. So once he's done traveling, though, we know this. We know that at this point right here, this is where the library should be. So let's draw a little book here. And that'll represent the library. So we know that if Mateo gets here, once he gets here, he's at the library. Now let's go back to this part right here. He knows that the library is exactly 29 kilometers from his house if he was able to travel in a straight line. So to get from here to here, that would be a straight line, right? From here to here. And if he was able to do that, then he'd have a path that would look something like this, right? And if he was able to travel along this path, then that would be 29 kilometers. But he wasn't able to do that. He had to go north 20 kilometers and then turn east to get to the library. If he was able to do this, that would be 29 kilometers, but that's not going to work. Now what I see here is a right triangle, because anytime you go north and then turn east, you create a 90-degree angle. So I see a right triangle, and we're missing this part right here of his travels, which is when he turned east, how many kilometers did he go, right? Well, to do this, since I see a right triangle, I'm going to use the Pythagorean Theorem, which would be a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remember that a and b have to be the shorter sides. The shorter sides are the ones that create that 90-degree angle, so this one and this one. And c is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always the slant, or the longest side. And you'll remember that the longest side is always facing that 90-degree angle. See? So if I set this formula up with this information, then I know that 20 has to be either A or B. It cannot be C because it's not the longest side. So this would have to be 20 squared plus, now I got to take this side, but I don't know what that side is, so I might as well call that B. So we're going to go B squared equals the hypotenuse squared, C squared, and the hypotenuse is the slant or the side facing that 90-degree angle, so it's this side right here, which would be 29, so I got to go 29 squared. So now let's start solving this for B, because the moment I solve for B, then I know this side here. 20 squared is 400. So we have 400 plus B squared equals 29 squared. Oops, 29 squared would be 841. So we have 841 right here. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to isolate B squared. I want to have this by itself. So I'm going to subtract 400 from both sides. Minus 400 here. Minus 400 here. And I get B squared equals 441. So at this moment, some people might think, oh, 441, great. So he travels 441 kilometers here. Well, that wouldn't make sense because this is the longest side right here. And if the longest side is 29 kilometers, there is no way that a shorter side could be 441 kilometers. And remember, 441 represents B squared. So I have to take B squared and turn it into B. Well, how do I go from B squared to B? It's almost like unsquaring, right? Well, we don't call it unsquaring, we call it square rooting. So I have to square root this side. But the moment I do that to one side, I got to do it to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to square root this side as well. So the square root of B squared becomes B. The square root of 441 becomes 21. And this is what I need. So Mateo travels 20 kilometers north, but he travels 21 kilometers east. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this video helped. Remember that now you have to go to your CPR and try to do this on your own without any help, without any notes. See if you can just remember what to do. All right, I'll see you on the next video. Make sure you click like and subscribe to the channel.